Oh my, this patch has been an absolute ride. The Twin God issue is still persistent, we have lots of troubles with true damage champions, the meta is absolutely weird, and welcome back to another RiftGuides WildRift video. Today we're going to take a look at an updated tier list for the higher ELO, but before we do this, let's talk about our question of the day. What item do you want to see changed? Let me know in the comments below. The first pick on this list is going to be Fiora in the Baron lane. This champion is an absolute demonic existence, still has ever been and will always be. The biggest issue with this champion this patch is that she has access to the free item and turns into an Exodia monster. Having access to the Vayne Sundra, Hullbreaker and Amaranth Twin God makes her unstoppable, with nothing in the game that is able to stop her, at least in a 1v1 scenario, given that the Fiora knows exactly what she's doing. This power pick is an absolute monstrosity in the meta and needs to be either banned or picked if you want to win. The damage this champion does and the tankiness she reaches thanks to the combination of the free items I just mentioned makes it very troublesome for her to get killed. Even if you were to 2-man her or maybe even 3-man her, she is way too tanky and does way too much damage that you're just unable to do anything against her. You just need to shut her down early on and then hope for the best as the game continues. Realistically speaking, the only thing you should be glad about is the fact that Fiora runs out of mana. Yeah, it sounds like a consolation prize, but honestly, that's the saving grace we have. The biggest issue for Fiora is, number one, her mana pool. When it goes to the later stages of the game, or just generally, she just runs out of mana very fast. Her wave clear capabilities, which isn't that high, in combination also with the mana issues, you can't just spam spells into the wave. And luckily in this game, her tower push potential isn't as high as compared to PC. Just imagine a world where your first ability also procs on towers. That would be utterly terrifying and would make Fiora as a champion even more broken than she already is. And this is our full tier list for the Baron lane. Next up comes the jungle role, and here we have a special pick for you, and it's Darius. Yep, you heard it right, Darius in the jungle role. With the changes to the meta, people loving tanks, Darius has become a force you just need to have on your radar if you want to win more games. In many occasions, people might say, yes, Darius in the jungle, very nice, but what do you do if people just run away from you? Okay. So yes, people might run away from you, but not everyone can run away from you, because if they want to all run away from you, you will just get whatever you want in terms of objectives. Also, you have to not forget that your champion is really well and really good in taking down structures in the side lane as well. That is something that most people underestimate when you play bruisers in the jungle role. Many people just refuse to go side lane as a jungler, and I don't know why. It's very broken and very beneficial for them, especially if they happen to run Demolish. But what I want to say here is that Darius himself isn't the greatest champion that there was or is, but Darius under the right conditions or in the right conditions is absolutely busted. And with this meta being the prevalent one, where tanky targets and bruisers are so, they're basically everywhere, Darius' value has increased manifold. This champion can just turn the fight so unbelievably fast with just dunking person after person after person. And with the champions available that will grant you those stacks, and once you get to those stacks, just tagging the enemy once, one hit is enough to instantly kill them. And your jungle clear isn't even that bad, so in terms of economy you won't fall too far behind, and even then you always have the availability of going to side lane and forcing people to fight you under your conditions. And this is our full tier list for the jungle role. For the mid lane, we still have Corki as our pick of the patch, and he is still an absolute menace, and it's very troublesome to deal with this champion. He is way too tanky, does way too much damage, and just takes over the game way too easily without any type of danger. This champion is just absurd, and honestly, I don't know what they're going to do about it. With the items at play, he will just not die, and unironically, you should be thinking like, okay, So Corki building items that don't give him like any crit. Corki that builds items that grant him health. Corki that is building items that give him AP. Like, surely he's not gonna just one-tap me, right? Well, you're wrong. This champion is going to demolish you. For some funny reason, they chose to give Corki absolute insane shred on his third ability, which is, I think, on the highest level, 25 and 25, which then makes him so powerful against any type of squishy champion, and even tanky champions are not really tanky. The only downside Corki has is that if he's the only damage dealer on the team, that he will not have enough damage to kill every tank on the enemy team if they're a full bruiser composition. But in solo queue, even that won't stop him from taking over, because this champion just cannot lose lane. Like, unironically, Corki losing lane is most of the time a choice by him, like committing a mistake, or the enemy being substantially better than you as a player. Like, even a Zed won't have an easy time killing you if you play around your cooldowns properly. And if you know what he can do, you basically are forced into a specific space, but as long as you don't leave it, you won't die. And this is a very important thing in solo queue. And if you can pilot around that one, you'll be absolutely fine in scaling to the later stages of the game. And this is our full tier list for the mid lane. Everyone loves AD carries, and so do I, but what about AD carries that can build very interesting items to make themselves kind of invulnerable or immortal? And here we have Vayne. And Vayne is one of those champions that has been the big winner of this patch. Vayne is able to just have a new item path nowadays that allows her to just deal with people without any worry in the world. However, you still have to understand that Vayne's laning phase isn't the best, but once she gets out of this laning phase, she's a monster. But there are a few things you can do to make this champion a little bit stronger than you're used to. Triforce as your first item. Yes, it sounds weird, but with the tank build, it will all make sense. So I'll talk about this in a later video in OP builds again. But here I'll just give you the core items. So what you want is Trinity Force, Blair the Rune King, Warmock's Armor, and then it's Twin Guard time. So you might be like, why those items? Well, Vayne deals a lot of damage and usually relies on attack speed. With attack speed in her kit and on those items, she has all she needs. So what about more tanky oriented items that grant HP on top? Well, with those items you have all of that, and then you have Amaranth Twin Guard, which makes you super tanky. And if you are blessed by the heavens, you even get a Lulu support on top. And then you're invincible, like, well, you're already immortal, so I have no idea what you are then. But basically you deal a lot more damage without having to itemize into any offensive items, which doesn't make sense, but well, here we are. You just become absolutely tanky and kill everything in your way. It sounds stupid, it is stupid, it shouldn't work, but it does work, and it works pretty consistently, because I've given this build to multiple people in high ELO, and they're just stomping everything, and it's just... I hope it's nerfed. Anyway, this is our full tier list for the Dragon lane. For the support role, we have Nautilus. With the recent patch, there has been a few changes to itemization for support, but you realistically won't get to your Amaranth Twin Guard consistently in games because you won't have enough gold. However, with the changes to your items, and especially to Abyssal Mask, you are now most of the time going to rush Warmock's Armor with your Relic Shield, and then all you need is another 50 HP, and then the item is active, and you have infinite HP on the map. That way you'll just deal with everything you want, and you never have to go home. The only issue though is going to become mana, which means you have to go Abyssal Mask second item. Again, I'll talk about this in another OP builds video to just give you more information about that one. For Nautilus, however, it's a very interesting thing, because Nautilus as a champion deals a massive ton of damage. He is going to just one-shot you if you're an AD carry, if you don't go for tanky items, and he's going to be a sponge for damage, and he's going to CC everyone in a team fight. He just locates one target, then he sends off his little depth charge, and once the target is knocked up, it's all over for them, unless they have the proper countermeasures, and if they don't have them, well, good luck to them. Nautilus in the laning phase is also very potent in the sense that he just doesn't take damage. If you want to flip for your life, you can start with your first ability. I really don't recommend that though. But if you want to just live and be at peace, start with your second ability and just go for CS. You are not forced to get anything done pre-5 because on level 5 you basically guarantee a kill, or at least every summon as well in the game being taken away by you, just by casting your ultimate ability into your full combo, because it can't be missed. With that in mind, you can just pilot the champion and always make consistent plays around it. It's very easy, very impactful, and just overall really broken. And this is our full tier list for the support role. And that's it for today's video. If you loved the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel and come back for more, and see you soon.